Hi, you can see my flower, but only behind a $5 paywall. Andrew. And this is Gayties Toys. On today's MIA 80s Ladies, we're talking about a property that is sort of the shining example on what not to do. And it's also someone where, we not only didn't get the girl character, we didn't get any of the characters. And that, of course, is Wheeled Warriors and or Jason the Wheeled Warriors. I make the distinction of the two names for a reason. The Wheeled Warriors was a line of toys early in 1985. The toys were made first, and then Mattel literally threw the property to Deke, French production company, and said, make a cartoon out of this. The only instruction they gave was basically the good guys were called the Lightning League, the bad guys were called the Monster Minds. That's it. Deke went on to go and do a 65-issue run of Jason the Wheeled Warriors, where they really fleshed out the concept. They made, basically made Trope the TV series, where you had, impetuous teenager with a greater destiny, and the girl for the girl audience, and the wise wizard, and the Han Solo type, and the gay robot, and on and on and on. The plot of the show was also kind of strange. I mean, most episodes were very episodic, but much like, Pirates of Darkwater later on, there was sort of a MacGuffin, arc throughout the entire series where Jace was looking for his father, who had a magic root that would be able to stop the monster minds, but he split it in two, took off with one, left Jace with the other. If he had this magic root, why he didn't just use it right then and there, beyond me. I know for dramatic reasons, but this is your dad's drama kid. He went for smokes and he's not coming back. The toys themselves were pretty cool. They came out with two distinct styles. They had a very visual language. One was sort of white, chrome, Mad Maxi. Those were the good guy Lightning League. The other were much darker tones, covered in wild vines. Those were the Monster Minds. The problem being is that the pilots of both these vehicles were very generic. The Monster Minds were literal green brains, and the Lightning League were just bland human dudes. Since the toy came first, the cartoon came second. They diverged wildly. The cartoon had to create more than just bland astronaut men for the cast. So they created this very, again, tropey group of characters, including Flora, who is sort of the main topic of today's video. In the series, a scientist named Audric had created Flora from a flower, essentially. Much like, you, me, your mom. Where fauna, Flora is very much her namesake. She's sort of like that one Transformer plant, or the blue chick from Farscape. She was the sentient plant made manifest through, the miracle of science. That same science tried to create a new plant that would sort of end starvation, but because of for whatever reason, some supernova nearby, the radiation caused them to turn into the Monster Minds. That became, the villain propelling the story. Flora was interesting enough, very, kind of tomboyish, very much looked at her, leader of the Lightning League as sort of like an older brother. She had a flying fish. Not much to write home about. I mean, there wasn't a lot to the series. J. Michael Straczynski was involved in it. He tried to inject as much as he could, but, it really died on the vine pretty quick. And here's where the ultimate failure of the line comes from. Mattel, who, almost created the cross-brand synergy with their He-Man license, just dropped the ball here. They pumped out the toys. The toys did not do well because there was no cartoon to accompany it. That cartoon came later, likewise was a flop. The two were, they shared the same name, same vehicles, a lot of the same, visual language again, but very little else. So there was not enough for kids to glom onto. We didn't have, coloring books, mass marketing appeal that, got us from all angles. We were going to look it over really quickly, and that we did. Had the show actually succeeded and, ended up making more money for the toy line, making that more successful, there would have been a wave 2 of the vehicles. And in that wave 2, prominently featured would have been Flora and the entire cast. Likewise, if that had succeeded, they would have done at least a movie that was being considered alongside, Transformers, G.I. Joes, other flops of the time. But because the interest wasn't there, neither of these things manifested. So the show ended, just very suddenly. The final verdict's not great here. If you bring up Wheeled Warriors to someone and they remember the cartoon, they might light up. They might say, "Oh, I remember that. I love that." Make sure to ask if you love the show or the theme song, because I'm betting it's the theme song. It was done by Shuki Levy, who's best known for Jason the Wheeled Warriors as well as Mask, two of the just biggest bangers of the 80s. That theme song did a lot of heavy lifting. As for, a marketable, successful, money-making resurgence of Wheeled Warriors, I can't imagine it happening. In these sort of darker economic times, toy companies are kind of looking at more smaller, vehicle-based things. Star Wars is doing well in that field, but I don't know if Wheeled Warriors is quite what Mattel is looking for at this exact moment. All that said, you guys know me. I love an actual recreation of unproduced toys. So, if some fans or a third party were to come around and sort of recreate the itty-bitty little figures of Flora, Jace, and the rest of the crew that were shown in prototype form, I'd be down. I'd probably buy them, and it actually might even propel me to go and buy some of the old toys. So, it's possible. And that's my very brief look at Flora, as well as the rest of the cast from Jason the Wheeled Warriors. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time on MIA 80s Ladies.